They say pride comes before a fall, but hers brought a curse upon love itself. In the bustling village of Umukoro, a beautiful young woman named Rebecca was known for her charm, intelligence, and fierce independence. Many men admired her, but only one man held her heart, David. They had been sweethearts since childhood, sharing dreams and promises under the shade of ancient trees. Their love was pure, like a river untouched by mud. But their love was also fragile, and pride had planted seeds of discord. When David left the village to study in the city, Rebecca was confident he would return to her unchanged. But when he returned, he brought with him the trappings of a life unfamiliar to the simple ways of Umukoro. He seemed distracted, distant even, and soon whispers of betrayal reached her ears. One day, as Rebecca prepared to surprise David with news that she was with child, she found him with her own sister, Deborah. The scene before her shattered her heart. David was laughing and holding her sister close, whispering in a way he once did to her. Rebecca's pride burned, blinding her to reason. Without waiting for an explanation, she turned her back on him, casting hateful words that stung like 1,000 wasp bites. "I never want to see your face again. May our paths never cross." David, shocked and wounded, pleaded for her forgiveness, but Rebecca's heart had turned cold. She stormed off, vowing to make David and Deborah suffer, even if it meant risking her own happiness. With a fierce resolve, she sought out the elders, asking them to arrange a union with an older chief, a wealthy man her father respected, but she did not love. The news of Rebecca's decision spread through the village like wildfire. Whispers filled the air, and though her heart trembled, her pride held strong. David and Deborah, wounded and confused, watched as Rebecca became the new bride of Chief Ugo. Days turned into weeks, and Rebecca's new life was filled with luxury and riches. Her husband showered her with all she could desire, but she felt hollow inside. The home she shared with Chief Ugo was grand, yet each night she lay awake, haunted by memories of David's love and the child she now carried. But she refused to let her pride waver. Whenever her sister visited, Rebecca wore her finest clothes and adorned herself in jewelry, speaking with a tone laced with mockery and disdain. Deborah and David, now bound by guilt and confusion, grew distant themselves, both of them hurt by Rebecca's coldness. One evening, as Rebecca sat alone, she took a mirror from her mother's belongings, a mirror her mother had always called the truth seer. Her mother had warned her to only gaze into it in moments of true self-reflection. Rebecca's fingers trembled as she held it, but her pride was stronger than her fear. As midnight approached, she looked into the mirror, hoping to find satisfaction in her choice. But instead of her own face, she saw the shadows of her pride, twisting and curling like dark tendrils. In the mirror, her reflection began to speak. "Pride has taken the love from your heart," it whispered. "Pride has sown seeds of darkness where joy once bloomed. You are cursed, and until you seek forgiveness, the curse shall remain." The image faded, leaving Rebecca trembling. But instead of reflecting, she cast the mirror aside in anger. "This is foolishness," she muttered. Yet deep down, the words had taken root, echoing in her heart like a haunting melody. As the months passed, strange misfortunes began to plague Rebecca. Her husband's wealth began to vanish through mysterious circumstances. His land turned barren, and his health declined rapidly. She gave birth to a son, but even the joy of motherhood felt tainted. The child cried endlessly, and each time she looked into his eyes, she saw the shadows from the mirror, a reminder of the curse her pride had called upon her family. Desperate, Rebecca sought out the village elders, and even the priestesses who resided by the sacred rivers. Each one repeated the same message: "Only forgiveness can break this curse, child. Let go of your pride, for it has poisoned your soul and clouded your heart." But Rebecca's pride was stubborn. She could not bring herself to seek forgiveness, even if it meant lifting the darkness from her life. And so, the curse deepened, growing like thorns around her heart. One night, she dreamt of her mother, her face filled with sorrow. "Daughter," her mother whispered, "you must forgive, or you shall be bound to this sorrow forever." Rebecca woke in a cold sweat, her heart pounding. The truth had begun to creep into her mind, and she could no longer deny the power her pride had over her. Finally, broken and weary, Rebecca set out to find David and Deborah. She found them by the river, standing together with solemn expressions. They turned to her, and in that moment, all three were silent, letting the river carry away the hurt and anger that had grown between them. With a trembling voice, Rebecca spoke. "I have been blinded by pride. I let my own anger poison the love we once shared. I am sorry." Tears filled Deborah's eyes as she stepped forward, embracing her sister. David, too, looked at Rebecca with forgiveness, his eyes softened by compassion. In that moment, Rebecca felt a weight lift from her heart, as if the chains of pride had finally broken. She returned to her home with a renewed spirit, and the curse that had plagued her life began to lift. Her husband's health improved, her land became fertile once more, and her son's laughter filled the air. The moral of the story is this: pride, if left unchecked, becomes a curse that binds us to sorrow. True strength lies in humility and the courage to forgive. For more captivating African folk tales, subscribe to Motherland Afro Tales Studios for stories that inspire and enrich the soul.